Okay. Okay. Hi everyone. Let me see. Oh, hi. Hi. Um, Let me see. Screen. Yay. Okay. So, can you tell me if you can hear me all right through the chat? Konbanwa. Okay, so today is probably just not so long stream. Is just a thing I'm doing right now. As you can see, I'm in Photoshop, and this picture is just a picture that is will be used to showcase the new set of brushes for Photoshop that I made. Because some of you asked me if I have a set of brushes, custom brushes for Photoshop, because I made two sets of brushes for Procreate. So I made a set of brushes, a painting set of brushes for Photoshop that you can download from my Gumroad account. Yay! And if you have a look at my Gumroad account, there is a new set of matte painting set for Photoshop CC, and it has a lot of nice brushes for you to download and use in Photoshop. So today I'll be using a little bit of those brushes. I'm using only this set for this picture, and this is a picture based on this photo I took when we were with Kana in Kanazawa. So yeah, and today no music because I have to find new nice music, but didn't have time to do so. So just put yourself any background that you like, and I'll just talk today. So yeah, I already did the back part here, and I still have to do the trees, and I still have to do the left and right part here. I first did a sketch which I have like overlaid here, and I'll be doing the right part here in the stream. So let's just start with this. Greetings to everyone who joined the stream, and yeah, this is a nice difference from the usual stream that I do, which are all analog. So today we can do something that is digital. Ping. Okay. And this is pretty nice, I think, style of painting that I'm kind of developing right now still, which is not so stiff. This is something kind of in between the animation background style that I was using when I was still in working in animation, and something like and between this animation style and something like, I don't know, a ponyo, or more like hand painted background. So even though I'm painting kind of digital here, I don't do it so like perfect, and I don't make the shapes all perfectly straight, and I don't paint everything like using the straight line function in Photoshop. So I allow myself to be more loose with this, which I think helps a lot to make it more interesting, I guess. It's only 7:30 p.m. here, so I still have a bit of time to work on this. I drank a coffee, so I'm kind of back to my usual self because I was really sleepy like half an hour ago. I think that it was kind of かなちゃん、カナダは行った時に何月だったっけ？春？おい、まあいいや。She's listening to music. I think it was spring or autumn. I could just check the file. Let me check the file. September. It was September. I just looked when the photo was made. But I'm not really keeping the colors as they were. I'm kind of modifying them as I go. So the colors are not perfectly like on the photo. I don't want to uh, make it so contrasty because the camera I was using at that time, like the small black one that I usually use like for just going somewhere, it takes nice photos, but the photos are a bit contrasted, even though I tried to put it in the most like soft mode I could find on the camera in the settings. I guess this is also because in Japan the shadows are really harsh a lot of time, so I'm trying to make it kind of more softer and less contrasted. So the set compromises of few brushes, like the ones that you can see here. There are some really simple ones that are just standard brushes from Photoshop because this set is meant to be used as a standalone set. So you can paint a whole picture like I do right here just using this set. So you don't have to use any other brushes in your Photoshop, just this set, and you'll be able to paint something from the beginning to the finish. So there are some brushes that are there because they have to be, you have to have like a round hard brush, and you have to have like a airbrush, and you have to have something that has like wet edges. But about 2/3 of the brushes in the set are made by me based on some of the brushes I really like and used all the time. When I was painting animation backgrounds, and recently also with this kind of style, and I also tried to kind of emulate the set that I made for Procreate. The brushes should work on CS6. I don't think the standard changed from CS6. You and there are like $0 on my Gumroad, so you can just try and download them, and maybe they will work. I don't have CS6. I would do a CS6 version, but I only have the subscription one, so but I think they should work. I think the only new option is the smoothing in the new Photoshop, so maybe they will work. Just try it and tell us, so we will know. Okay, so now I want to do, like, if you see the references, there's the roof, the small like kind of roof here. So I want to do it. And because I'm painting this just for myself, I'm not paying so much attention about layers. I'm just making layers as I go, and just the way that I feel kind of comfortable with. And if I think that I don't need this layer anymore, I just collapse it to make the file lighter. I paint over stuff. I don't don't protect the layers so much as I would do in for example, a background that I'm painting in the studio. So have I ever considered painting food? Yes, actually, I didn't do it yet, but I would like to try it. I like painting things in general, so I think food would be also nice to paint. Actually, Kana did a children's book that is about ramen, and you can buy it, and you can pre-order it in the US. Um, so we also kind of experimented a lot with painting food in like this simple style, so it looks simple but at the same time delicious. So I had a little bit of part in the development of that book. So yeah, I would like to paint some food. Okay, so here's like the drain thing. And I would like to add some wood texture here. So I have this nice brush touch brush, so I can use it for stuff like this and then adjust it a little bit after. How long does it take me to do a sketch? It depends on the sketch. If it's something that I know, like a house, a simple Japanese house or something like that, I can do a sketch just while I'm like riding the train or something. So it does not take me long. I can do it like 20 minutes or something. But if it's something that's new for me, and even if I have the photo, it can take me like even one day to finish a sketch, because I don't just know what I'm doing. I have to fix things as I go. There's a strange bug on my Mac that sometimes the layer that I'm working on just disappears and I have to undo. I think that's a problem with my text expander, because I'm using a text for a text as a text expander, so maybe that's a bug in one of the shortcuts I made for myself. I have to check later. So if you wondered why the thing that I was painting just disappeared one moment. What's my favorite food? That's really hard to answer because I like a lot of foods. Japanese food, probably sushi, but that's also kind of depending on the time. It's like the moment I would really like sushi, and I just go for it, and it's awesome. But most of the times I eat different things. I like potato pancakes. These are Polish. This is a Polish thing, so. Thank you. Am I bored with Asian backgrounds? Not really. The architecture is really varied, and there is a lot of awesome stuff to paint. So I don't think I'm bored. I would like to do some European backgrounds. Like I went to Scotland for some time when I was at the university, and I really liked it, how the city looked like. So I would like to paint some of the things there. So yeah, maybe I will do it. I would like to paint some SF stuff too. Maybe not in this kind of realistic style, but more like simplified. So yeah, I would like to do some other stuff than just Japanese backgrounds soon, probably. My friends were working in Scotland, in Edinburgh, so I went and stayed with them for I think like 2 months, and I really liked the city, and I really liked the atmosphere. So I would like to do some pictures with that too. Actually, first okay, darker. Nice. Okay. When do you usually do your streaming? When I'm doing something that I can stream. I don't have a fixed schedule of work, so I don't have a fixed schedule of streaming because I just do whatever I just feel like doing. And this has good aspects and bad also, but I like that I can work on whatever I feel like working at this moment. So for me, this is a big plus of working as a freelancer. If I'm bored with one thing, I can just go and do something different. So when I am sitting in front of my computer and I think like this is actually a nice moment to do some streaming, I just stream. So I don't have a fixed kind of schedule. okay. This part looks okay, and I have my reference file opened on my iPad, so I have 3 screens here, which is too much probably. I started to paint this picture in a coffee shop today, so I was just using my iPhone as a reference screen and I was painting on my laptop. I actually tried to use the Wacom tablet as a wireless tablet because it has Bluetooth. It does lag a little bit more than when you use it just as a regular tablet connected to your computer through just USB. But it's okay, it's manageable. It's not really bad, but it's not also really not laggy at all. They say on the website. They lie. I can feel the lag. It's okay. I mean, for working like 2-3 hours in a coffee shop, it's enough. It's okay. When did you decide to become a freelancer? I decided to become a freelancer after 4 years working in an animation studio doing backgrounds for animated movies. And there were 3 or 4 factors that decided. First, I didn't see much of a way for me in the studio to improve or kind of build more. I could be like the background painter and that's it. The second one, I had enough followers, fans on the. I don't know. I don't like the word followers. I had enough fans on various social media that I knew that if I publish a book or something, it should sell well enough so I can do a next one. And also I had an offer from a publishing house to do a book, the Tokyo Storyfronts, already, but I could not do it while I was animation studio employee because that's a part of the how do you call it? The thing that you sign when you join a company. Not user agreement. Okay, so that thing. It says that you cannot work like outside of the company. You cannot do paid work. Contract, yes. Thank you. So even though I had a offer and they wanted to do a publishing house wanted to do a book of Tokyo Storefronts, I couldn't do it for money because I was tied up with the contract. So I decided that okay, I finished directing a small animation commercial and I quit the animation studio. How I met Kana is a professional secret because probably maybe someday we'll do a story or manga about it. So I'm not telling. Do people passing by bother you or just stare? Not in Japan. In Japan, I did not have almost any people like staring or bothering me while I was painting, so that's a good thing. Sometimes like children and will come by and just ask questions and stare, but they are mostly just cute and not bothersome at all. So that's kind of okay, really. Most of the time they just kind of look and say, "Oh, Jules," so like, no, that's really nice or something like that, and just go. So not much people just like stop and then look actually what are you painting. Do not drool on the picture. Okay. Actually, we went for a sketching session with Atelier Sento and some other artists that live here in Japan, like foreign artists. For example, Ken Nimura was also there. And we did a 1 day sketching walk kind of thing near Akihabara. And there was only like one Japanese kid that was like hanging out longer and looking what we are doing, but no one else stopped or like looked. And there were like 6 7 people drawing and sketching, but so yeah, it's kind of rare. When did you start drawing? What was your first painting about? I don't know if it was a painting, but when I was probably in my secondary school, I started painting and drawing all kinds of stuff. So like chairs and furniture and cars and stuff. I really enjoyed painting and drawing real things that were like just surrounding me, and I enjoying doing like kind of diagrams, I think you can say. So like painting something but then doing like arrows and stuff to show how it opens or how do you use it, and this kind of things. It's just weird a little bit, but I was doing pipes and like chairs and um, telephones and all kinds of nice design uh, just stuff. But mostly like I was just painting what I saw. So I was just painting like from life, you could say. I want to make it a little bit darker. I don't want the right part to be much of a focus of this painting. The part in the distance is the most important. So I'll make this part darker like this. So I'm using here only the brushes from the set. Okay, and if you look at the reference, there is like a tree here on the right side. So I would like to paint some leaves just to start it and to kind of get a grip what I'm doing here. I did not go to art college. I did IT college. So high school I was in an IT oriented computer networks and stuff. Okay, so not this brush maybe. Yeah. What is your favorite medium for drawing to use for drawing buildings and scenery? I think I like Procreate a lot actually Photoshop is also nice, especially with this kind of method of painting when I don't care so much of stuff being straight or 100% accurate. It's kind of relaxing to paint because I can always undo and I just have fun recreating the world as I kind of see it. So that's nice. I like acrylic gouache probably. So just because it gives similar freedom, because when it dries it's waterproof, so I can paint on top of the things that already painted, and differently to watercolors I don't have to care so much about layers and the order of painting things. And when it dries it's matte, so it does not reflect light like acrylics, and it's nice for painting stuff like buildings. It's similar to the poster colors that are used widely in Japanese industry for painting backgrounds, but I like the acrylic gouache better, I think. I did not try oil paints yet, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll try someday, but I prefer kind of media that are not so bothersome with like time and drying and using a lot of like oils and stuff. And I already have some brushes and things that I can use with watercolors and gouache also. So yeah, I usually stick with gouache and watercolors. Favorite destination in Tokyo? If you want to see something different than usual, then I would recommend the Edo Tokyo Open Air Architectural Museum. It's really nice because you can spend a whole day just visiting a lot of really interesting old buildings, but not this kind of old that are too old, but this kind of old that is still interesting. So you have like really old buildings, a few of them, but also like shopping street recreated from like the Showa period, so like after the Second World War. Or you have like very nice traditional Japanese villas and traditional Japanese bathhouse and a lot of like cute shops and stuff, so you can just walk around and see a lot of interesting Japanese buildings. And there's also a cute train there and all kinds of stuff, so I recommend going there. Do you have Nintendo Switch? No, I would like one, but now we are playing on the PlayStation 4. We are doing Monster Hunter, but not recently, because Kana is busy with Inktober and I'm busy with a next book project, like the. So yeah, I did some drawing with alcohol markers. Actually, I recently made a video about painting scenery with them, but they are not my primary kind of thing that I use. I like them. I like Copics. I like this kind of approach that I can paint with them anywhere I am. I don't have to have water with me and stuff. I would like them to blend a little bit better, so they don't leave the kind of markerness. So I still have to kind of figure that out. Maybe if I figure out how to use them better, I would use them more often. I know that it's problem with the paper I use and how I use them, but I always leave this kind of marks that I don't really like. So I would like to try a little bit more stuff with them too. They are actually really nice for doing it's kind of really simple pictures with few colors. So more like Japanese woodblock prints where the colors are kind of separated. So I did layer the colors, but not too much. And just probably if you look at the video, it would be easier to understand what I was aiming for. But I like it actually. Yeah, I have, I think, like 10, 12 colors. I think maybe a little bit more. But I don't want to kind of buy more because I'm trying to paint bigger pieces with them. So if I have only 12, I can buy all the inks, like 12 inks. So when I'm painting, I have this um, safety net that if the ink runs out, I can just refill it, and I'm not stuck anywhere. I like the Lamy fountain pens. Kana bought me one uh, as a present, and I tried to use it. It was actually the EF1, the extra fine, and I like it a lot. I would like it to be even more finer for writing, but I liked it. And recently I bought two more, so one the medium and one fine to use in my paintings. And actually, the painting that I did of the Arakawa line, I did with the Lamy pens for lines, and they worked perfectly. So I'm really happy about that, and I will probably use them more from now on. I'm using the no, not using the Cintiq. I actually sold my Cintiq because I did not like it so much. Cintiq is nice, but I find that when I work too much with the Cintiq, actually my neck hurts because I look kind of down most of the time. So I decided to sell it and um, buy the new Intuos, so I can kind of sit straight up and look at my monitor, and I don't have to kind of strain my neck so much. Probably the Intuos would be better if I had like a dedicated desk for it and use it only on this dedicated desk with a nice or a standing desk or something like that. That would allow me to have a better position on the like neck and just do not look like down all the time. But yeah, it was kind of tiring after some time. So as you can see, I'm not paying so much attention to the layers. I'm just painting as I paint as I go here. This is more similar to painting with gouache probably than anything. I just make a new layer when I start a new shape that has to be on top of things, and this is just like a series of layers with no names. I use the V key, so I press it and I click on stuff, and then the layer gets selected. So that's how I select layers. I rarely use the layer list to select stuff, just when I have to like access some options or something like that. But what phone? I have an older iPhone. I think it's 6S. I guess, yes, probably. Watercolors in Photoshop are really difficult. To be honest, I have not succeeded making a watercolor like piece in Photoshop yet. I think there are some people that are kind of close to the style, uh, but it's a really hard thing to do. If it does not have to be Photoshop, maybe trying a different program for this would be better actually. There are applications that are kind of dedicated to simulating watercolors. So maybe if you try an application that can simulate watercolors better and then transfer the file that you did to Photoshop and then just edit it, that would maybe be better. You can use the brushes that Kyle made. You can download them for free from Adobe. Recently, they became like Photoshop standard brushes that you can download, and there are some really good watercolor brushes there. But if you want to simulate really realistic watercolors, you should probably look for some paper textures and real watercolor like splashes and brush touches that are scanned, and try to incorporate them also in your work. So maybe this will help, but it is really hard to recreate nice watercolor textures in Photoshop. There are some applications, I don't really know the name right now. I think it's called Liquid something, that are especially for this purpose. I prefer the stylus, I guess, but it depends on what I'm doing. If I am coding a website or like writing a document, recently I have been using the touchpad a lot. Even with when I had the iMac, still I had the Magic touchpad, I think it's called. So not the mouse, but the touchpad. But usually I have the touchpad and the mouse and the tablet connected to the computer like wirelessly, so I can just switch between them as I want. So even now when I'm on the MacBook, I have my Magic mouse, I think it's called, somewhere there, so I can just take it if I need it. Uh, Actually, I'm not picking colors from anywhere anymore. I used to use other people's art for as a palette. So when I was like, oh, I really like this illustration colors, I would take the illustration and see how it works and pick colors from this illustration and paint something completely different. But now most of the times I just start from scratch and go with the colors that I already have on the picture. So for example, if I need a shadow, I'll just go for a area that I already have and pick color from here and use it in different places of the picture to make it more kind of consistent. So I don't really use a palette. I have swatches here, I used to have like swatches that were nice and like circular. So there was like a nice swatch set that someone made that was this nice like color wheel kind of thing. But I lost them somewhere, so I just stopped using them. I was not bothered enough to look for them again. So I guess I don't need them anymore. But usually I just start with some colors that I pick myself from the color picker, and when I think that these few colors are okay, I try to follow this color theme with the rest of the picture. Well, this is what you get when you don't play well with the layers. But I like this kind of painting. It's kind of I'm sorry, I'm using kind of too much. I like this kind of painting because it's soothing to my nerves. I don't have to pay attention to layers too much. With animation backgrounds, we were paying a lot of attention to layers, and all things had to be beautifully separated into layers, like the base of the object, the shadows, the highlights, the left side, the right side, and so on and so on. So it was easy to modify it after if it was needed. But yeah, I'm using Intuos 4. No, Intuos, the new Intuos Pro thing. The Wacom tablet here. Yeah, I can do this kind of thing on the iPad. I actually did two illustrations just like this style on the iPad. If you look at my previous videos, you can find them there. And on the bigger iPad in Procreate, I was able to paint just like this. So the only problem is to display the reference file that you are using. If you want to display it on the iPad also, it's kind of it gets crowded. The screen gets is too small to display and paint at the same time. But if you have a phone, for example, you can display the reference file on your phone. It's not so convenient, but it's doable. I guess it's really easy when you're just painting from your mind.これが、僕らたちがかなちゃんと一緒に行ったのは金沢ですよね。で、あそこのなんか茶屋の町みたいなところに、なんか迷って、で小さい道とかいろいろ撮って、写真撮ってるんですね。なんか坂道じゃないと思う。なんか、細かい道とかいろいろ入って、であそこで撮った写真の一つです。No, Kana is Kana, so Kana is my wife, and Kanazawa is the place in Japan. It's not Kanazawa, Hanazawa Kana, no. Thank you. But when I speak in English, I have a tendency to use the same words all the time, like or kind of or a little bit, and it's really hard and it's hard for me to fight it. You don't usually see it in my videos so much, but I do a lot of takes to uh, erase a lot of those repetitions. I actually met Hanazawa Kana when she was doing the voice for Kimi no Na. She came to the studio once. Okay, so there is like a post box here, I think. So I'll just do it so it's not really. Okay. Again, I painted it on a same layer. Let's just roughly select it. Dark. Okay. And the thing that you are seeing also is the sketch. I have the sketch set on probably like 15% opacity, and it's on top of everything, so I know what I'm doing more or less. I have not yet read the book. The book is so popular in Japan right now that it's everywhere. Like all the bookshops have it, and because Miyazaki-san told that it is a great influence on the book, on the film, everyone just buys it, and it's everywhere. So it's like a bestseller in Japan right now, just because he told that the next movie would be based or influenced by it. So that's really funny. But I have not read the book yet. Probably I will read it after seeing the movie, because I don't want to um, build myself any expectations. As you know, some books that he made into movies, like the House Moving Castles or something like that, were completely different than the books. So I don't want to make an image of in my head and then be disappointed. So I will probably read it after seeing the movie. I'm originally Polish, which is weird, but to say, but yeah. Okay, that's a post box, and now let's do the bottom part here. So like darker color, new layer. I'm just randomly creating layers. Okay. So again, for those of you who just joined, this is painted with my Photoshop brush set that you can download on my Gumroad account. It's from $0 plus, so you can try it without paying anything. And if you like it, you can buy it then again or something. Or what you don't have to, you can use it for whatever you want. And this is a set of brushes that is meant to be used as a standalone set, so you can paint a picture using only this set. So there are some simple brushes there that you find already in Photoshop, but there are many brushes that I made myself based on the brushes that I usually use for my digital backgrounds and illustration painting. Yeah, the original picture is this, and this is a picture I took with Kana while walking around Kanazawa. But I'm just loosely based on this because I don't want to paint it realistically. Just no problem. This is a nice feature of the software I'm using, that it's really easy to switch between stuff. I'm using the OBS, as everyone probably. So as you see, now I'm coloring different things, but I try to use the same colors that I already have in the picture, so it does not get wonky color wise. Make this shorter. New layer. Ping. I do not have PO box. I actually wanted to make one, but from what I checked, it's more complicated in Japan that I'm bothered with. Especially that we move with Kana often, so we change the place that we live almost every like 2 years. So I would like to have one, but it's a difficult thing. I don't know why actually, but I would like to have a PO box. I'm actually waiting for one parcel that when it comes, I will be testing the thing that will be in the parcel. I don't want to put too much details. I don't want to spoil. But yeah. How do I know what layer is what? I actually don't know. They don't have any names or anything. But when I want, for example, to paint the tree, I press the V button on the keyboard, so it takes me to the select tool, and I have the auto select on here. So when I click on something, it just automatically selects this layer. So even though I don't have any groups or anything that makes it really easy to understand, I can paint without being bothered too much with layers and what is on top and what is at the bottom. I just painted a lot of things using Photoshop, so I know more or less when I should do a new layer and what should be on the next layer. But I don't bother with names. I'm the kind of guy who doesn't bother name the layers, and then when someone else opens the file, it's a disaster. But most of the time now, because I'm just a freelancer, I don't give people my PSD files. So yeah, it's actually really fast to do it this way. Really fast. With the V button to select things. It speeds things up a lot, and when this is one of the first things I learned when I joined the animation studio. It's like no one was just selecting layers on the right side. Everyone was using the auto select, and that was a kind of thing for me that was like, whoa, really? I guess this is a really basic thing, but There's a strange box here. I don't know what it is, but let's paint it. I guess it's, I don't know what it is. Most of the things I draw, I try to figure out what it is so I can paint it better. It's too big. Let's put it back here. Okay. I just kind of know, okay, I want to paint underneath the box, so I do a new layer and put it one layer down, and then I can just paint like this. So gradually I create new layers and this becomes nice layered picture. I'm from Na zdrowie. I'm from Poland, but I live in Japan for more than 8 years already. So I think I will make this, I don't know how to say it, available to watch later. Have you tried Painter? Yes. When I was still in Poland and I was working for Wacom, I don't know, and I was teaching people how to use the Wacom tablets. We actually worked with Corel, and I had all the versions of Painter, so I can learn how to use them and test them and give feedback and do stuff. I was using almost exclusively Painter for my painting because it's Painter, yes. And I liked it. I liked some versions of it, but because of the thing that happened in Corel when the company actually, from what I heard, kind of fired a lot of the staff that was making the software, and they went away and made their own software that was called Art Rage, and the Corel Painter went kind of weird for some time. I don't know how it works and looks right now, but yeah, I was using like version 9 and I liked it. I was using 9, like 10, I didn't like it. Ping. If you wondered how I filled it in, I have an action that fills. Okay. I have animated in Photoshop. Um, the animated movie that I made for my graduation project from my university, I actually made in Photoshop. Actually, the animation was made by hand, but I traced it and colored it in Photoshop. And I actually recently did a bicycle boy animation in Photoshop. I'm still doing it. So you can do it. It's possible. And because I have Photoshop, I'm using it for animation. There are other softwares that are better for this, but they are extremely expensive. So I'm not bothering with them. I would like TV Paint, for example, to do my animations, but I don't have like this extremely huge amount of money that's needed to buy it. So I didn't try Krita because I'm on Mac. I think Krita is only on Windows if I'm not mistaken. Hello. did I get back my motivation? I did not lose my motivation. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I had a little bit of a kind of block. I did get it back a little bit. I'm probably back to my usual work. I did need a little bit of rest, probably also. I tried to motivate myself with different types of motivation. We went to the Studio Ghibli Museum recently and saw the awesome things that are there. We went we to the exhibition of JoJo, the comic. We will be going to the exhibition of Design A, which is a kind of weird design documentary program in Japan. So yeah, this is one way I'm trying kind of to motivate myself, and it is working well, I think. And I also starting to do all kinds of weird stuff with my art as usual when I feel a little bit down. So I try to use different tools. I try to paint different things. I started to do the Arakawa line illustrations with and they have people in it, so it's different from what I usually do. So yeah, I am kind of better and back to doing things. I did not work for Ghibli. I worked with people that were the Studio Ghibli staff, but I did not work for Studio Ghibli yet. Maybe someday. I actually had the pleasure to go to Studio Ghibli and see them in action when they were making the new short movie from Hayao Miyazaki and the Wind Rises also. This is my personal painting, but then again, most of the things that I do for work are my personal things. This is not a commission. This is a thing that I am making to show you how you can use the new Photoshop brush set that I put on my Gumroad. So you can download the brushes that I'm using right now.ジブリで働いてはないんですけど、コミックスウェイブフィルムズ、新海監督の作品、での作ってるスタジオで働いて、で、スタジオジブリ2、3回ぐらい見学しに行って、みんながカセットチヌとか作ってる途中をちょっと、見ましたし、あと最近の毛虫のボロ、ちょっと作業風景を見たりとか、しましたんだけど、まあ、スタジオジブリが一回なんか制作をやめた後だと、僕が働いてたスタジオにちょっとスタジオジブリのスタッフが来ましたので一緒に仕事はできたんだけど、スタジオジブリで仕事したことがないんですね。Okay. What next? Let me see, and let's see the reference file. There's a bench like here in the distance. I forgot to paint, so maybe let's do this. Like here. Na zdrowie. Kikoeteru da to omou. お、いいね。いいと思う。みんながなzdrowieって言ってる。 Na zdrowie, na zdrowie wa. Na zdrowie is like bless you in Polish. It means for good health. So when you sneeze, we hope it's like for good health. Probably is from the fact that especially men were putting tobacco in their noses and sneezing, and it was believed that this is like for health. I don't know, but I heard something like that. But probably it's just because okay, you sneeze, so maybe you'll be sick, so we hope that you will not be sick, kind of, for good health. So each time someone sneezes in the vicinity, you say na zdrowie, which sometimes is really hard to do because when someone sneezes a lot. Pozdrowienia! Okay, so I have to paint a shadow like beneath the I was learning German also, but I cannot say anything. It was a language for me that was not easy to learn. I was learning it for 4 years during my high school, but I cannot say anything really sensible in German. I can understand a little bit, but I cannot say a lot. I also forgot this pipe. This pipe has to have a, how do you call it? Outlet. The place where the water comes out. So let's paint it like this. Yeah, this is one of the this is about the Hoshi Okatahi. This is one of the short animations that are shown in the Ghibli Museum that we still have not been able to see with Kana. We saw almost every one of them. I think I'm missing only two, and Kana is missing only three. But there are, by the way, I think 10 right now, different like short movies, and they change every month. But the day I bought a star, I did not see it. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it, but getting kind of in sync to be able to see what you want is it's difficult. Okay. Yay, we have an outlet. This is also like no black outlines, but usually when I paint backgrounds, I don't do outlines actually digitally. This part is kind of scary. I did it on purpose because it's like October and everything, so. Okay.
YouTube でみんな見れる？
今生で見てる。みんなが。
あとレオンとかじゃなく？
全部。Do you have any tips on doing line art? Not really. I'm not really good at line art. I usually use line art for my paintings, but I'm not really good at doing pictures with only lines. This is one of the things I would like to practice actually more, doing like ink art. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer that I didn't have time to do the Inktober again. But also Inktober is placed in this kind of season when it's the best weather in Japan for like going outside and walking. So but you have to spend like every day inside to do a nice ink art, so it's a waste actually. So maybe I'll do like Inktember or Inkvember or whatever. I mean, like, it's really hot in Japan, and October is probably the first month that it gets cooler and it's nice outside, and it's like the autumn that you can go and do something, and then you have to paint ink. So Jake Parker, why? But it's a fun challenge. I would like to try it. Okay, so here's the pot for the plant, and let's move to this part here-ish. I'll erase this. Kana is doing awesome Inktober. Yes.
Yes.
New layer. Save. Okay, so this part here, the perspective line is more or less here. So let's make it like this. Kana's work you can see on her Behance and website. Wait, I'll link to it. Can I link to it? You can just go to kanaurbanowicz.com and see the stuff there. And she also has Instagram, which is probably the most lively. Okay. Hi.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Oh yeah, this is nice. Okay, and also from this side. This with this part here, the perspective is starting to look like something. then there is a, how do you call it, a curb here, and it actually goes like here-ish. I don't manage the layer. I do not manage layers. If I was doing a picture that was supposed to be like an animation background, and another person is going to fix it or edit it, I would make nice groups and my nice names. But with a picture like this that I'm doing only for myself, I have kind of the image of the layers in my head. I kind of know what is on a separate layer and what is not. So I guess this is a little bit of a experience thing, that I don't have to have names of the layers, but I do not select them from here. I select them by using the selection tool and just clicking on stuff. So I don't have to actually remember the name of each layer. Okay, let's use this funky brush here. This is also in the set. And put like blue color. No. Usually, do I do the picture in one sitting? It's impossible. In some cases, when I was working in the animation studio, I would spend like 3-4 days, even on a really huge one that is like cityscape with a lot of stuff. So it's a little bit too complicated. Then I'll do it in many sittings. This, I think, to finish will take me 2 days to finish. So I did like the back part, and I think I'll do the right part for a little bit more time today, but probably I'll just finish it tomorrow or other day, because tomorrow we are going to a museum, so probably other day. For a piece like this, which is not so, it's more loose, I think 2 days is kind of the optimum for a piece like this. Anything longer, I would be bored and I would not be compelled to finish it. But anything shorter, that's kind of... can I stretch it? I guess I could stretch it. Yeah, let's try to stretch it. I'm not so bothered with crispness in this piece, so let's just stretch it. And I'll move it a little, like here. Okay. Usually I don't do things like this when I'm painting like an animation background, because with transformations like this, things get less sharp. But yeah, this is just like a showcase illustration, so let's stretch things. Yes, I will have to look for some nice new music for the next stream, but today I did not have time to pick anything up. It really sucks that I cannot play you the music that I usually listen while working. Even on Instagram in Japan, they don't have the Instagram music, so it sucks. I use clipping mask a lot usually when I'm painting a more proper background. I make the shape of things and then use clipping mask to add details. What do I do when I run out of drawing ideas? Usually I don't, but sometimes I do. When I run out of ideas, I look at stuff. So I go to a museum, which is really nice actually because you can, for example, we went to an exhibition of a really famous comic which is called JoJo, and we were able to see not only like the pages of the comic but the original paintings, so the original drawings, and this is really nice to see the process of other artists because you can see that all the steps that went into making things. And I don't know, for me it's just like when I see some sketches and when I see stuff done by other artists, I get kind of inspired. So it helps me a lot to get new ideas, but I also look at photos, I look at the world around me, just at some photos that I took. So yeah. Actually this part is too bright. Let's make it darker. So as you can see, I did not choose the layer from the layers panel. I just clicked on it with the selection tool, and that makes it a lot faster and less bothersome. Though you have to be careful not to move things. If you are not careful, you can move things unintentionally. Yeah, this looks better. Okay. Like usually you have to be really careful to make nice contrast between things. This is one of the things again that I learned while doing animation backgrounds. Is contrast between things is really important. So if you have two buildings that are not really contrasty and you want to show the space, you have to be sure that things will contrast between each other. And if there is, of course, you can kind of aim to have less contrast, and this is also good if you are doing it kind of consciously and, oh, I want to have less contrast here, but usually you have to be aiming for more contrast so the picture is easier to read. So the person that watches it for the first time, and especially in an animation background, sometimes the backgrounds are on screen for a really short time. The picture has to be readable, easy to read. So like increasing contrast between things that are on screen is really important. Kyle's brushes are heavy. Some of the brushes that he made in the sets are really heavy. So that's usual thing that your computer is lagging. I actually copy the Kyle brushes, and if I use some, I turn off some of the options that he put in the brushes because they are too heavy. And now on the computer that I'm using right now, it's probably okay. But sometimes, for example, I want to use them like now while I'm streaming, and that's hard with brushes that have like dual brush and texture and they're huge and stuff is happening with them while you paint, and they respond to tilt and to the, I don't know, temperature in your room. So I turn a lot of the options down. I turn the flow to 100% and I turn it off so the brush pressure does not affect the flow. I don't like this option. But yeah, I turn a lot of the options off and make my own versions. But now I'm using only the brushes that are from the set that I made, so you can download them, and they should be quite fast on just regular PC. Do you use multiple darker layers? Really not so much. Sometimes. If I have a picture that is already done but I forgot to make it darker or something and I have to use it, then I'm using it. But I try to paint like I would paint with acrylic gouache or something like that, because it kind of keeps the picture from looking digital, which I don't like so much. So yeah, I use it when when I have to, but usually I try not to. I'm using the iPad Pro. I have the 13-inch, and I'm using it. Actually, I'm using it a lot for sketching and doing like rough things that don't have to be with so much layers, and they don't have to be so precise. I like it very much for sketching, and I'm using Procreate for sketching a lot. I'm kind of excited for the new Photoshop for iPad Pro, but I don't know if I will be using it. I'll try it for sure, but I work with Photoshop to do all kinds of stuff. I do animation of characters in Photoshop. I do scanning and correction of all my watercolor works in Photoshop. Yeah, I use Photoshop for all kinds of stuff. But recently I have moved away from Adobe a little bit because I moved to Final Cut Pro for editing video. Final Cut Pro because it's Pro and it's final. Right now I'm using Intuos Pro, the new one, but you can use any Intuos for this. I just wanted an Intuos, and this is the one that they are selling right now, so I'll be gladly using my Intuos 4, but probably the most benefit that I have from the new Intuos is that it's a little bit smaller compared to the size of the drawing area. Thank you. I used to have the Cintiq, but as I said here, I had the small Cintiq and I liked it for painting characters and painting line work. It's better than the Intuos tablet for painting line work because you can work directly on the screen. But it was actually not really good for my back and neck because I was always working looking down. So I actually sold it and bought the new just regular tablet, the Intuos one that Wacom is currently selling. I guess, yeah. Do you like Radiohead? Dude, I have all the albums. Not all, probably most. Like 90% of the albums, including some rare things. So yeah, I'm a, you can call it a fan. I have a lot of albums, mostly like both secondhand and hunted for in like secondhand shops. We actually have a CD player in our like working area, and we put most of our music from CDs. which is nice because it allows us to kind of think more about what we are going to listen to. So we go to the CD storage box and we pick the CD, like what do you want to listen now, and it's like nothing Japanese or Radiohead or Bjork or whatever. So I look for the Bjork CD and put it in the CD player. Yeah, I think the stream will be stored. Usually I ramble a lot while I paint, and then I'm kind of um, not sure if what I said uh, is good for posterity. So I do not put some of the streams online. But yeah, I listen to a lot of music, like Radiohead and Muse and this kind of weird rock kind of stuff, but also like Gorillaz and also Bjork and also Dva, which is a Czech band recently a lot. Game music, soundtracks, Studio Ghibli music, uh, weird electronic music, like Daft Punk a lot. I like the soundtrack from Tron, the soundtrack from Matrix, which is really good actually. Lately, we have been listening to Nirvana a lot, which is weird. So all kinds of stuff. And Kate Bush. Any tips for people starting digital art? Yes, actually, one great tip for people starting digital art: use the most simple round brush only, like this kind of round brush. And then when you can paint with this round brush, try other brushes. And actually do not use um, like multiply or screen or whatever so much, only when you are sure you need it. This was the thing that I did a lot with my art when I was digital art when I was starting. It's like I was using a lot of weird brushes and weird effects, and the whole thing looked really digital, and I was not good at it, so it looked like the bad digital things. So actually, I would recommend starting with really simple brushes. Like you can download the set that I'm kind of advertising right now and use only this for painting most of the pictures that I do and most of the like anime backgrounds that you see so in like your name or whatever, with only those brushes. So nothing fancy. I don't use like levels or curves. I use them a little bit to like for the final kind of post processing, or when I'm editing a scanned picture, I use a lot of levels and curves and those kind of filters. But when I'm painting like this, I try always to build the picture from ground up, thinking on what I'm trying to achieve and about the lighting and stuff. So I try not to use those kind of tricks, but yeah, you can use them for great effect. Most of the backgrounds that we made for your name, for example, have those kind of flares and um, sun effects and lighting done with like screen layers and overlay layers and screen filters and levels and stuff. I'm using a photo reference. This is the photo reference I'm looking at. But I'm kind of painting loosely based on this reference. Yeah, so the flares and stuff are done using some screen layers and just painting over the done picture, but most of the lighting is done just while painting on the objects. Let's add some texture here. No, I when I was painting backgrounds for your name, I was working at the studio. So I was the employee of the studio that made the movie. At that time. I don't like this. I started painting this about 12 p.m. Afternoon today, and I did a small break for like dinner, and we also went to a cafe. So I was painting this at a cafe actually. On my MacBook, I had my Intuos with me, and I was painting this outside. So yeah, I'm painting this for about 6-7 hours maybe. How many artists were in house? I think that we had about 20 people doing the art and compositing stuff, and maybe about the same amount of people doing the animation, something like that, I guess. But there were a lot of people doing things outside also, like just freelance helping us. I did paint a lot of Polish landscapes when I was still in Poland. Um, yeah, but I have to paint some more. Uh, okay, let's do this part here. These are like weird parts here. Okay, I'll show you. Like here's like I did a lot of backgrounds for the your name. I did about, I think, 120 backgrounds, and there were 1,500 cuts in the animation. So I did not exactly 1/10, but close. So, for example, I did a lot of, almost all the cuts when the characters are on like the overhead pedestrian passage on the I think it's like near Shinjuku. I did all the cuts of like Shinjuku Station and those, and a lot of cuts of Itomori, so the mountain village also. I actually did the cut with the train that stops in the Itomori station, which kind of became popular and is on the posters. Yeah, I will be doing more. Sorry, I will be doing more art like the one that I did with the character. I am actually thinking about turning it into a series of illustrations with like this kind of people that we saw while we were walking around the Arakawa train line. So you can expect more. Probably those will be different people than the one that the father that I painted in the first illustration, but yeah, kind of in the same style. I want to try something similar to the character designs I did for my Yokohama series, not the dogs, but the other people that are there. So I want to try to design some realistic but simple characters, which is hard for me still, but uh, they do employ some, but not so much. From when I was there, I think there were like 3 people in the studio that were not Japanese. I'm glad to hear that you like the characters, because this is still something I want to experiment with backgrounds and scenery like this. I more or less kind of found the style, especially in digital painting, what I want to do for the next pictures. But with characters, I'm still groping around and trying to find a style that will be easy for me to do and at the same time visually nice. Arigatou gozaimasu. I am kind of fluent in Japanese enough. I will actually merge this down. I cannot read fast enough yet, but I can speak fast enough. For everyday professional communication also. Okay, so this part here will be I will use this pink color because I like it. And I'll use it like this kind of. This is only the base for the it's more or less the same level for me, I think. Right now with Japanese, I speak all the time with kana, like every day, all the time. But in English, I still have some more difficult words that I know from reading probably a lot of English books and stuff like that. So I can still in English probably say what I mean more accurately than in Japanese, but it's more or less the same level of difficulty for me right now. Ah, sometimes it disappears. Don't know why yet. I will have to investigate. Okay. What's next? Let's see. Okay, so there is a curve here also. So let's paint it above this layer. So this is the main painting brush that I usually use. This kind of really simple one, but it has nice edge to it. So it's nice for kind of outlining stuff and drawing even more complicated shapes. And I also use it as the eraser, so I get nice and those uneven edges, I like them. Okay, and let's actually make a clipping mask here, and I'll try to paint the front part of this. So for now, let's do it like this. I just want to kind of get the hold of the shape of the thing. Ah, I forgot to lock it. Okay, so it's like this. And I actually want to make the wall that's on the left side. It's really complicated on the photo. If you look at this, there's a lot of things going on here, like a lot. So I will not make it so difficult for myself, and probably will make it a little bit more simple. I have the sketch here already, so I will try to follow the sketch more than the original photo probably. But the walls are really close to each other, so this part is actually in a kind of a half shadow here. So I use some of the darker colors from the back part to color this, so it's consistent with the back part also. So like these colors here for the light part, just for now, so I kind of know what I'm doing. Okay, let's paint a little bit more of this tree here. Tree, it's like a plant tree, it's a small tree. Watercolors are difficult. They behave completely different than digital paint, and they also have completely different rules in than digital painting. So I think they are one of the most difficult method of paintings for of painting for a digital artist to just switch to. It's easier probably for a digital artist to switch to something like acrylic gouache when you don't have to think about the layers so much and the how do you call it, order of painting. So if you feel kind of disappointed about watercolors, maybe it's nice to try to switch to some acrylic gouache. What happens to personal pieces like this? Mostly I do a video and I upload it to YouTube. I do a print. I just put it in my portfolio also. But most of the times, personal pieces like this have the purpose to just learn something and practice and relax a little bit. Just do some nice painting without any deadlines or themes or anything that stresses you out while you're painting. So it's nice. And sometimes from stuff that is not related to any work, it's still work, but it's not related to any like commission or anything, comes a piece that I like and I turn it into a series, and this series turns into a book, for example. So doing personal pieces I think is really important if you want to work like more like an artist than like a craftsman that does stuff that people order. It kind of keeps you how do you call it, sensitive to your own kind of art image, I would say. Let's copy some leaves. Copy! Yay! I would consider teaching in like a school or something, probably. Maybe not yet, but in some years. I don't feel still sure enough in what I do to kind of teach like a bigger group. I did not get any kind of art education, so I'm kind of lousy if it comes to explaining why I do stuff the way I do. The way I do, I can just show you the process and maybe you'll learn something from that and or find it interesting at least. So it's this kind of process. I was on ArtStation, but I have too many things already, so I don't have ArtStation anymore. I have Behance and I have Pixiv, though probably Behance is the place that I upload most of my things. Also because I was using the Adobe portfolio thingy, but recently I have made my own website using my own kind of platform, so not anymore, but still most of my art you can see on Behance. Pixiv is more like a Japanese DeviantArt, actually. It has some new stuff recently, so like option to uploading comics and doing prints and doing all kinds of crazy stuff like live streaming, and it's like DeviantArt more than anything. But it's more, I think, closed community, I guess. So I have my art, some of my art there, just to have a Japanese language social network that people can look at, but I am not really active there. I just post my art there. Yeah, I mean, teaching directly would be really nice. The problem is that most of you are um, outside of Japan, and I would like to kind of meet and do classes. That would be really awesome. I could do online classes like the guys from I think SVS Learner or something like that do, but that would actually mean making more videos and web content, and I want to focus more on this stuff, on the art I do actually. So maybe someday, yeah. Maybe in 5 or 10 years we will have awesome virtual reality goggles in our houses, so we could be like in a classroom or something. But that would be awesome actually. I have the M, I think. I guess. I don't know. It says Wacom Intuos Pro, but I don't know which one is it. It's not the smallest one. It's I think it's the M one. Okay, I'm hearing my um, bathtub being filled, so I guess we are be ending this stream in like 10 minutes or something. We are already here for 2 hours, so. Na zdrowie! This is starting to look like something. I guess I will not be doing the bicycle on the right side, but I will be doing the bicycle on the left side. That will take some time to paint. Okay, and let's do the trunk of the tree. So this is this layer, and something like this. This is too thick. Something like that. Okay, don't forget to try out the brush set. You can get it on my Gumroad account. In the end, I painted it on the same level layer. No, it's okay. So you can download the brushes I'm using right now for this painting, and try it by yourself on your own Photoshop. And I also have brush sets for Procreate, so you can also try a painting style like this in Procreate. There is a brush set that's called painting brushes, and this is the one for Procreate. To get the brushes, just go to my website and there go to the tools section, and there are links there to all the three sets, or you can go directly to my Gumroad and try to download there. And all the three sets are 0+, so you can just do whatever you want, and you can use them however you want them to use them, so that is also, I think, useful. The brushes that you can download on Gumroad are in the new Procreate format. So if you have Procreate 4, I think 4.1 or something like that, the new one, the 4, you just download the file from Gumroad, you put it into your iPad, you can put it using Dropbox, or you can put it using just AirDrop from your Mac, or you can put it using Google Drive, and then open the file on your iPad, and you can just drag it from the Dropbox to your Procreate, or click on the file and choose like open in Procreate. There are a lot of tutorials on how to do that on YouTube, so just if you are kind of stuck with the brushes, just try to look on YouTube on how to open Procreate brushes. And if you have the older Procreate, you can still download the older version of the brushes that are in the separate brush files. And with those, you have to select all of them and kind of drag them to Procreate to make them install all at once, or you can install them one by one. Yeah, I worked on Space Dandy. I did the backgrounds for episode 8, the one on the trash planet, and we did a lot of backgrounds for that. I actually did the scene of the explosion of the planet. Oops, spoiler. I'm happy to hear that. It kind of went under the radar, but it's really nice actually. It has its own like unique style, and it's different than most of the things that are kind of mainstream now in the animation industry. But yeah, it's really different. Okay, so I lock this and I will try to paint it in like a color that I like. I will try to use some color from here to make it consistent again. I don't want to make a new color. This is too light. Maybe something darker like this. Maybe more darker. Yeah, something like this. And a little bit more greenish here in this part. I really like actually the Inktober prompts. I like to have a nice base from where to start from. The ideal thing would be to do a comic like daily updated or something like that, using the prompts as uh, just themes for next page, like something like the 24-hour comic or something like that. But yeah, that would be really difficult to do. Actually, Kana did this the last year, and it was really painful to do every day, to think up something new, especially that she was doing it on the theme of Edo Tokyo, so the old Tokyo. So she had to also research things about the historical Tokyo to do the pages. So that was difficult, and she did it every day. Uh, a lot of sleep was lost because of the Inktober. I did post her website. It's this. So yeah, that was actually really difficult to do. But yeah, I would like to try something like that. I forgot to lock it. Lock it! Yay! Add some texture. Bigger texture. Yeah, that looks okay. Okay, this is the music the bathtub makes when it's full. So yeah, I guess we're ending this on this kind of stage, and I'll probably do the rest of this picture and make a video on how I'm using the brushes, so you'll be able to see the final finished picture also in a separate YouTube video. So that's it. Thank you for joining me during this long and not so eventful stream. Don't forget to download the brushes for Photoshop and try them yourselves in your work. And if you like them, you can share them and tweet about them or Facebook them or whatever do you have. That actually helps a lot to spread the word around. You seem to like the Procreate brushes a lot and you kind of tweeted about them. So that is awesome. So if you like the Photoshop brushes, share them also. And I will be updating this set as I kind of work with it and tweak it a little bit there. So I will be updating it as I go. So you'll get a message that I updated it when I update it. Okay, so thank you for joining me and stay warm, safe, and artsy. That's weird. Okay, see you in the next stream. Bye.